And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is 13th, August, Thursday, 2026. As always, serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, the Morlocks in D.C., anything that comes to mind that we think matters. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we will post it at GaryK.com. We'll post it on our X feed. If you don't follow us on X, just put our name in. And if you'd like to email me, just be nice, just be respectful. That's all we ask. We'll be respectful right back. Simple as that. Oh, by the way, we'll also post it at the Biz TV YouTube channel. So we talk about businesses here. And let me give you a scenario. Last night, I was on a flight from Orlando to Miami. 45 minutes in the air. And it wasn't a late flight. It was, trying to remember what time it was. Oh, before 5 o'clock. And this certain airline has a ton of jets in Florida that they have access to. And what happens is there was a maintenance issue. And we sat. And the airline knew that most of my airplane was connecting in Miami to, I think, lots of South America. There was also some man that just said, I'm just going home. The door was open. They wouldn't let him leave. The door to the airplane was open. They wouldn't let him leave. Which really was weird. But I digress. They took their time. By the time they came back and said, we can't fix it, there were no other flights. Everybody was screwed. I didn't know what to do. I had to get down to Miami. I never do connecting flights, but I had one. I decided to take the train. There's this thing called the Bright Line. Took 3 hours and 40 minutes. I got to Miami like 12:45 a.m. Just a complete mishandling. And by the way, you know me with airlines. I'm cool with them. And I understand when there's trouble and problems and things like that. But I also understand that they should know the situation. And this airline, not going to mention who, probably has 100 jets within 30 to 45 minutes of Orlando. Nope. Canceled. Completely canceled. People SOL. And a lot of them were checking for next day flights to South America, all sold out. So it was a rough one. I got to Miami Airport from the train station, stayed at the Miami Airport Hotel. And you know what happens? I had to wake up for an early flight to where I was going. I wasn't going to get a lot of sleep. And I always think of the Seinfeld episode where the marathon runner did not make one of the marathons because of the alarm. And of course, they were supposed to count on Kramer, but he fell asleep in his hot tub that wasn't working. So Jerry took over, and it all just went to heck. So I was worried. I wasn't waking up. I hardly slept. So I'm pretty much comatose today. We're doing this show in the late 1 o'clock hour because of scheduling, and we have a lot to discuss, a lot to cover. I will tell you that as I was up at 3 and 4 and 5 in the morning, futures were a non-event, especially the NASDAQ futures. Especially the NASDAQ futures. I figured it would be a quiet day, and what happens, they just jump. The semiconductors, very strong day. Some of the artificial intelligence, very strong day. Not all. I have on my legal pad here every semiconductor name, every artificial intelligence name, and a lot of them leave a lot to be desired. But strong. Early in the day, SanDisk, which was already up 100, jumped 100 more points within minutes. As I speak, it's up 221. Micron, 6%. Seagate, 4.5%. Western Digital, 7%. The SOX, up 270 as I speak. Up about, 2.5%. Not everything. ASML is up a few percent. Just a strong, strong day. With the Dow down 60 as I speak. It's weird. Catalyst, don't know. There's been a lot of talk recently. There's always bullish talk on this. Always bullish talk on AI. I don't know what lit the fuse, whether it was just it's time. And technically, and this is as I speak, as we get closer to 2 p.m., so there's more than 2 hours left in the market, the NASDAQ 100 is edging above what we call a handle. The NASDAQ, I'm going to say a little less so, but still edging above. We'll see if it sticks. But leave no doubt, today is a semiconductor, artificial intelligence day. Not all, but pretty darn good. I was looking for news. Didn't see any, but you never know. How we finish, don't know. They're still below the highs of late May. And we'll see how they finish, but definitely a better day. There's your story. Don't ask me why the Dow. Oh, Cisco's down $11 on its earnings. That's not the food company, it's the networking company. Cerberus, a semiconductor, is down 30-something. The market ignored both in the technology arena. Some of the better software names having a good day. And there's your story. The S&P, I believe, is trying to edge out to the upside over the last 6 or 7 days. As I mentioned, the Dow is actually down. In fact, a bunch of stocks in the Dow are down, with the NASDAQ up 200 and the NASDAQ 100 up 379, and the semiconductors up a juicy 274. And there's ETFs for DRAM, having a good day, and some of this other stuff. That's in a nutshell. And what has me interested is they're ignoring a couple of big blow-ups in technology. I repeat, not everything. Plenty still below moving averages, but we'll take it. Up next, we'll keep on keeping on. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. If I sound a little different, we're on our app with the iPhone when I travel. And we're working on some new stuff to use that sounds better, because I know we sound like we're in a tunnel. I know. By the way, I forgot to mention one thing. So I've been in, and all of us has been in circumstances where things don't go so well, and you expect a modicum of, well, let me put it best. After we got off the airplane, finally got off, after they waited for maintenance and all of a sudden nobody had a shot to catch any flights, I saw some people very upset. One of the ladies were crying. I guess they were going to see family. One of the people at the gate that worked for this company, it was, I want a single file, go this way, go that way, go this way, a clear lack of charm. Needs to be trained, especially when things go awry. But let's hope everybody made it. I made it to where I needed to go. But it was, right now I'm working on 1 hour sleep with an iPhone in my hand before the market closes. We'll see how it goes. As I speak, Dow is down 40, but the S&P's up 40. Dow is down 40, but the NASDAQ is up 195. The Dow's down 40, but the NASDAQ 100 is up 370. Russell 2000's hardly up. Dow's down 40. The SOX is up 266. Transport's having a better day, and they haven't been acting too well as of late. Oil prices are down a little bit today. Inflation numbers came out, I hear, pretty good. Low. So yields are down, and that's important. And I want you to remember something about this, because there's so much BS information being thrown out there. Just so you know, to some, everything is politics. So when inflation hit during the Biden administration, oh, blame Biden. It's Biden's fault. Oh, it's Joe Biden's fault. No, it's Joe Biden's fault. And as you know, we thought he should have been impeached for what he did with the border. But Joe Biden didn't cause the inflation. No way. The inflation was caused by Jay Powell. The reason people keep saying Joe Biden caused the inflation, they keep saying it was all his spending. Well, if it was government spending that caused the inflation back then, we would have 20% inflation right now with what Trump is doing with spending and debt and deficits. What you need to know, and this is a lesson, inflation is a monetary phenomenon coming from a moronic Fed that goes too easy with money. You had, and I hear also about supply chains. No. Jay Powell printed up to $9 trillion, not the whole 9, but to $9 trillion, took that money, bought the crap out of the bond market where 10-year yields were down to like 0.3%. That's how you got your 3% mortgages. Took Fed funds to zero. That's what caused the inflation, not the government spending. Again, if government spending causes inflation, the king of spending is Donald Trump. And inflation is manageable here. When did inflation come down? When Jay Powell was forced to stop printing and then was forced to tighten. That's all. Don't believe the other part. All you have to do is go back and check. It's just like, all this talk about vaccines. All you have to do is go look at the trajectory of COVID and look at the trajectory once the vaccine came out and started to being used en masse, and you will see COVID dropping like a rock. It was the vaccine. For some reason, people have to make some sort of whatever for whatever, and all you got to do is look at the charts. That's all. Sometimes all you got to do is look at the facts. Go back to when inflation kicked in and what Jay Powell was doing, and go back to see what inflation did once he stopped. A direct correlation both up and down. And let's hope this guy Warsh gets it, because Powell was a dummy. And the other part was, once we opened up, he stayed too easy. And do not forget, he and Janet Yellen, another genius, told you there wasn't any inflation. When it hit, they said it was transitory, and not until it was insane inflation was the uh-oh moment. I don't blame Biden for being stupid about it. He takes his word from the Treasury Secretary. But Biden should have been impeached for what he did at the border. Oh, most definitely. That's impeachable. To this day, we still don't know where people are. And we don't know if there are any bad players. And by the way, they admitted it. Unforgivable. But he does have cancer, and supposedly it's not good. We wish him good health besides. We have to separate the humanity versus the politics. And we hope he beats this, but we're hearing, I guess once it gets to the bones and stuff like that, is not great news. And I believe he's in his 80s, I believe, right? Maybe in the mid-80s. Not 100% sure. Anyway, that's the story on inflation. And we're looking okay. But you know what the problem is? And while you're hearing about the affordability problem, that's up next on this, the one and only Investor's Edge. So, by the way, Dow is still down 30. NASDAQ down, up 199, NASDAQ 100 up 366. Russell 2000's barely up. So, affordability. The president's making a huge mistake, but he's not running again, but he's making a huge mistake for Republicans running in November by saying affordability's made up. And that's what he's saying. That's a fair assessment. So just so you know, there's inflation and the rate of inflation and prices. The rate of inflation has come down. Prices, not really. That's the issue going forward. Let's throw a for instance. Well, oil prices are a moving target. The president's war caused that, and they're still elevated from where we were before the war. The president, unfortunately, continues, and I'll use a better word, fibbing to the American public. He's been out the last couple of days. They control the Strait of Hormuz. That's a blatant fib, and everybody knows it. I don't know why he would look into the camera and say that, unless he thinks we're all stupid. Then again, welcome to the political world. Anyhow, prices. You go to the supermarket, sure, there are things down in price. Absolutely. Because they're moving targets. But have you really seen price? I do the shopping. Everything's up in price. A lot of things are way up in price, and they're not coming down. In case you don't know, a lot of companies that were tariffed because of the president are getting their money back, and they raise prices because of the tariffs. Do you think they're lowering prices back down? Nope. That's the issue, and that's the problem. Very tough to get prices down. Now, housing's coming down because it's a buyer's market now. The amount of inventory in the country, I believe, is at a record. That's just one part. How's the health insurance? As you know, one of our big complaints of Obama was that gargantuan lie. I still remember, and I would come on the show and say, this is impossible. And we were right. They said, we are going to get rid of pre-existing condition, and we're going to bring all these people onto health care insurance, and your premiums are going to go down? That's an impossibility. It's a physical impossibility. He lied. They lied. And you got Jonathan Gruber, go look up his name in the video, saying, yeah, we lied. And we lied because Americans are stupid. There's a video. He's one of the main architects of that. And of course, the media gave him a pass. How much is health insurance to you? Food. And now gas. How about airline travel? I got news for you. It's insanity. What I tell you about a couple of weeks ago being canceled. Flight to JFK. My flight was canceled. Looked at the next flights the next day, $1,600. Why? Gouging you. They know you're desperate. That's part of the equation also. So therein lies a problem. It is affordability. And we know this because we speak to people. There's your story. Inflation, the rate coming down. Normal. Normal. Prices, some things. Most all things, not. I still remember at Halloween getting a $10.95 bag of little Hershey's chocolates. $15.99 now, maybe $16.99. Have you seen the bags of chips and the size of the bags? It seems like they get smaller every week. And you do know they count the amount of chips that are in the bags. Starbucks. Oh yeah. Prices been going up. Coffee. I got news for you. I've seen coffee prices go up and down. But the price to buy coffee? Up. My wife used to get this Gevalia, I think that's how you spell it. I only get it when it's 2 for 1. It used to be 2 for 1 at $9.99 for box. It's $14.99 now. Catching my drift? I'm the king of BOGO. Buy one, get one. There are certain things I will not buy until the buy one, get one shows up. Don't you dare look at hotel prices in Europe if you're traveling. How about in New York City? Insane. So therein lies a story. Rate of inflation down. And as long as Warsh does his job, and from what I'm watching, I think he thinks like me. I think he's paying attention to the market. That's good news. Monetary phenomenon. But there's not much you can do about prices. It's luck. You know how they're taking credit for egg prices coming down? They didn't do anything to have egg prices come down. They were going up because there was these big diseases, and now the diseases are gone. So there's a lot more eggs, price comes down. All right, so they take credit for that. Terrific, I'll throw them a party. Just want to let you know a little bit of the truth versus what you're hearing. And believe me, I hear the same things you hear, and I cringe. And the president is doing no Republican candidate justice by going out and campaigning and saying affordability is made up. Oh, by the way, college costs? Huh. Happy days on that. And the list goes on and on. Whether it's home insurance, auto insurance. Oh, don't get me started on the price of cars. Go search this statement or this question. How have the average price of cars done over the last 5 years? Up or down? Skyrocketed. People are getting 7-year auto loans now to be able to afford a car. And by the way, don't ever get long-term loans on cars. It's a big depreciating asset. But I will say this. A lot of auto dealers now are giving out the 0%. That's the way to go, if you can. So that's a little bit of a tutorial on what I think you're hearing the opposite of. And I have to tell you, if I was president, I'd be looking into the camera and saying, this is the reality. And we will speak to companies. We'll see what we can do. Ain't much. Up next, we'll walk you back into the markets. It's only 2 o'clock. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. That's a little bit of rush for you. As I told you, I just saw them at Madison Square Garden. Fantastic. I'm going to see them a few more times before they're done. And I think I got one more concert of my favorites, the Eagles at the Sphere. And if McCartney goes again, I don't know if Billy Joel's going to tour again. I've seen him plenty. I'm hearing Fleetwood Mac may tour again, but without Christy McVie, it's not really Fleetwood Mac. All right, that's your music part of the show. All right, where do we sit here as we go into the 2 o'clock hour? Dow is now down only 1. But the NASDAQ's up 196, NASDAQ 100 up 363. The S&P's up 43. The Russell, a measly 4. Transport's up a nice 350. They have been on the weak side. I'm looking at transports, just everything's green. The story today is semiconductors, artificial intelligence. I will tell you, as I was walking around in a stupor at 5 a.m. this morning and 6 a.m. going to the airport, inside the airport, futures for the NASDAQ were flattish. And they just jumped out of the box. I didn't see any real news to do it. They just decided to do it. So names like SanDisk, more than 10% today. Still way down from the highs, but much better. Seagate's up about almost 4%. Western Digital about 7. Micron's up about 6. Those are main names that we follow in that. The SOX up 240. That's only not even 2%, right? And it's very narrow in semiconductor land, I will tell you that. It's mostly what I would call artificial intelligence semiconductor names doing the trick. But leave no doubt, good day for that area. And as you know, we don't pay a ton of attention to the Dow. The price weighting is weird. As we have stated to you, that Nike in the Dow can go to 0. 0. 100% drop. That'd be about 280 Dow points. If Goldman Sachs went to 0, geez, 7,000 points. Just making a point. I don't understand the price weightings, why they do that. That's why I watch Caterpillar and Goldman Sachs the most. The good news is, besides Nike, Coke is only $87. Those are the only two under 100, but Walmart's just above 100. You get my point. Maybe one day they'll fix that, but they don't care what I think. But again, the big story is the semis AI today. I do not know what did it, except to say it decided to do it. It's only just started the 2 o'clock hour. So anything possible into the close. We have to do the show a little bit early today just because I think I'm going to collapse soon. 1 hour of sleep last night. Travel hell. That's all I can tell you. Travel hell. The president says we control the Strait of Hormuz. Not true. I wish he would just stop that. The good news is, I think the market cares mostly about whether there's big fighting or not. Right now, there's some pin pricking. I don't think that's going to be the biggest of deals, but we'll watch. Oil prices are still above 80. That's still up there. We don't want to see them worsen. Simple as that. Direct correlation. And as oil prices go, so do yields. And yields fell down a little bit today on a better inflation number. We'll take it. But I repeat, as long as the Fed doesn't do anything stupid, I think we're okay. My biggest worry remains our debt. Trump doesn't give a crap about the debt and deficits. Biden before him didn't give a crap about debt and deficits, and he exploded them. Before him, Trump, number one, didn't care about debt and deficits, even though he promised to do something about it. Obama didn't care about it. Bush didn't care about it. We are now at 40 frickin' trillion dollars of money our government has spent over and above what they was not supposed to do. You know, we used to have balanced budgets. We used to have something called, well, we still have it, but they don't do anything about it. The debt ceiling. The debt ceiling. And you know what they all know? They're either going to be dead or retired when things do explode. I keep being told, Gary, you've been bringing this up for years. We're at 40 trillion and the world hasn't ended. Terrific. So be happy that this year, 1.3 trillion of our tax dollars is going towards interest. And in the year 2000, 1.8 trillion was our total spending. And do not believe the BS that it's all because of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That's their scam. Hey, until tomorrow, you have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family and hug your children. They will feel better. You'll feel better. I promise they will be well. I'm going to get some sleep. Until tomorrow, good night.